What's up guys, David here. Just wanted to make a little video today about what it was that made the way Christ chose his disciples absolutely so revolutionary. See, back in his day there was different levels of schooling for the Hebrew children. It started out with Beit Sefer and went to Beit Talmud. Now in Beit Sefer it was the ages of 6 to 10, and it was basically like your primary school where you would go and start learning the first 5 books of the Torah, and you would start committing them to memory. Now in Beit Talmud is where you really step that up a little bit. By that time you would have the first 5 books of the Torah memorized. That would be the first 5 books of the Bible. You had them completely memorized, and you had your laws and everything. It would have been like your middle school of Hebrew learning, if you will. Now, after Beit Talmud, what happened was that those that weren't so good in religious texts and weren't really looking or seeking their spiritual furtherance anymore would go on to what would be a trade. They'd go work with their fathers, or they would go work in the trade fields. And that was fine. And then ones who were really, really good at what they were doing, they would go on to what was called Beit Midrash, which is where it was called the Hall of Learning. It was where they really went to further their studies in their religion at the time. And during this period, you would go and you would find a rabbi that you agreed with their teachings at the time and go and ask if you could sit under them. The word disciple basically means to be like. So you're basically going to ask the rabbi, do you think it has what it takes to be like you? See, now Jesus did this just backwards. He went to the ones who didn't finish school, who were not the best of the best, and he said, hey, I think you can be like me. So come, follow me, and let me teach you to be fishers of men. Which was really revolutionary for that day, because he went to the ones, the outcasts, the down and outs. His people were the prostitutes, the alcoholics, the gamblers. I mean, he went down to the lowest of the low and said, listen, I think you can be like me. And that was revolutionary for its time. And that's exactly what he's telling you. When Jesus says, follow after me, he's saying, I believe you can be like me. Come, be like me. And when he meant that, he meant in his Christ characteristics, in his character, in his morals, in his values. You know, the only commandment Christ ever gave to get to heaven was to love your neighbor as yourself and love the Lord your God with all your heart. And that's another one of those scriptures that most of the time people sit in church every single week, but they never really grasp the full meaning of. See, love is an action. Love is a verb. It's not a noun. It's not complacent. You can love something, but normally when you love something, it means you're going to do something for it. Love is a verb. Love is an action word. It's the length you're willing to go for somebody else. It's willing to put yourself aside to esteem somebody higher than yourself, to humble yourself. And that is what that scripture means, to love your neighbor as yourself, to physically do something for them, to show them your love. People often get love and infatuation confused. Infatuation is the chemical in the brain that makes you feel all warm and fuzzy and, makes you, when you first fall in love with somebody, that newness, that feeling of I can't be without them. That is infatuation. That is, in fact, not love. Infatuation fades, but love is what sticks out through the hard and through the tough. If you love somebody, it's the length you're willing to go to show that person you love them. If you have somebody in your life that tells you they love you on a continual basis but does nothing but bring chaos to your life, I would have to stop to question if they fully understand the meaning of that word. Because if they loved you, they would want to bring you peace and joy and happiness, calmness to your life. So with that being said, I encourage, or I would implore you today to go out and love somebody as you love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, start there. Work on yourself. Work on loving who you are as a person. Identify the things you don't like and work on changing them. Growth is a natural part of life and is meant to continue the entire journey. So with that being said, remember, you are light, you are love. What you do matters, and who you are matters. Peace and love, guys.